This past Sunday, we celebrated the baptism of Jesus. And for the last 3 days, I've broken down the story of his baptism as we find it recorded in Mark. This coming Sunday and for the next several weeks, the readings in worship invite us to ponder the question, what does the baptism of Jesus mean for the way we live our lives each and every day? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. It should escape no one's attention that the gospel of Jesus Christ makes demands on our lives. It should be clear that Jesus makes a claim on our lives, our whole lives, not just our spiritual lives. Or should I say, the claims Jesus makes upon our lives make it clear that there is no line of demarcation between what we think of as spiritual and what we think of as non-spiritual, or between the sacred and the secular. As far as the gospel is concerned, it is all spiritual. And as far as the gospel is concerned, everything we do falls into the realm of the sacred. So there's an excellent text from Psalm 139 which prompts us to consider what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ, what it means to belong to God. The psalm begins, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Your knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high, I cannot attain it." So if this passage sounds familiar, it is because we read it frequently at services of witness to the resurrection, at funerals. The psalm goes on to talk about how we were intricately made and that God formed all of our parts and all of our days. What it points to is a kind of intimacy with God, even if that intimacy is often one-sided. What I mean is that even when we are not particularly aware of God and of God's presence in our lives, God is always intimately familiar with us. There are two sets of words in the psalm that bear noticing here and that help us understand this psalm more fully. The first set of words is the verbs search, know, discern. These verbs paint a picture of a God who is intimately familiar with our whole lives, not just our devotional lives, not just our spiritual lives. These verbs make clear that God is concerned not only with our religious devotion, but with everything in our lives. God knows us, searches us, discerns our thoughts. Verse 5 then uses an apt phrase to describe how God relates to us. You hem me in, behind and before. Now, I suppose we could bridle at the thought that God hems us in. After all, it has a connotation of constricting us, our thoughts, our movements, our actions. But it has a very different connotation also, and one that seems more at home in this context. God surrounds us with love and care and concern at every moment of our lives, whether we're aware of God's presence or not. These verbs then indicate God's closeness to us. The second set of words that bear noticing are the pronouns, you and I. The psalmist doesn't talk about God in the third person, him or he or she, but in the second person, you. It is personal language. Over and over again, the psalm uses the words you and I to indicate the relationship that exists between God and each one of us, and between God and all of us together. But it also indicates that when we talk about God, we're not talking about an it, about an impersonal thing, but about a personal subject with whom we stand in meaningful relationship. All of this is to say that God is intimately familiar with us and with the whole of who we are, everything we do, not just the religious stuff, not just the churchy stuff, matters. And it matters to God. Tomorrow, Paul confronts an error in the Christian church, an error that still pervades the church today. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.